God, the referee. They're gonna stop this. They're gonna stop it.
Welcome to the relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. On the heels of the Nina Hughes versus Shannon Courtenay fight's collapse, reigning IBF bantamweight champion Ebony Bridges, the blonde bomber, stated via her social media, "I'm gutted to hear that my mate Shani isn't fighting for the WBA title anymore. I'm not sure why she's pulled out, but you don't just pull out of a world title fight for nothing. And us girls, we don't not fight because of fear. It's not how women's boxing rolls. I'd like some answers." She's actually giving Shannon Courtenay the benefit of the doubt. We talked about all of that and how, according to Shannon, it's a knee issue, that injured knee. It's acting up. According to Shannon, it's a knee issue, but according to Nina, it's a weight issue. In any event, Shannon won't be fighting, and as a result of that, Nina will be facing Katie Healy on the undercard of Sonny Edwards' Matchroom debut early next month on the 10th at the OVO Arena at Wembley, what is the equivalent of the Hulu Theater to Madison Square Garden here in America. That's what the OVO Theater is to Wembley. A few passing thoughts. What? We know what the plan was before Shannon Courtenay dropped out. What? The plan was to put the winner of Hughes versus Courtenay in the ring with Ebony Bridges later on this year. I anticipate that very soon, Ebony Bridges will be making a fight announcement of her own. In all likelihood, a takeover fight, because she's coming back from hand surgery. What about Shannon? I think that if Nina Hughes makes it past Katie Healy, she will proceed as planned. She will go on to unify with Ebony Bridges. I don't think Nina Hughes is going to allow Shannon Courtenay's medical or weight issues to stall her own career. Nina Hughes, God bless her, she's 40 years old. She ain't got all the time in the world. She ain't got time to wait. Wait for Shannon. Wait for them to reschedule a fight for Shannon. It was Shannon's opportunity to capitalize on. If she can't make it, then the show must go on. I think it will for Nina Hughes, who will be opposite the ring unbeaten Katie Healy in a battle of the unbeatens. Nina Hughes sports a professional record of 5 wins, no losses, and no draws, to Katie Healy, who sports a professional record of 6 wins and no losses with no draws. No recorded knockout. She's a lot taller than Nina Hughes and approximately 15 years younger, though she hasn't competed at the same level as Nina Hughes. That's saying that Katie Healy, in spite of being an unbeaten up-and-comer, she's never shared the ring with somebody like Jamie Mitchell, for example, who Nina Hughes won the WBA title from. This is a considerable step up in class for young Katie Healy. Does this better or lessen Nina Hughes' chances of making it to an Ebony Bridges fight? Being honest with you, I think it betters her chances a little bit, because I didn't think she was going to beat Shannon. Shannon Courtenay, with 2 good legs under her, is a very formidable and strong fighter with a strong right hand. I figured she would outmaneuver the smaller, older Nina Hughes had they fought. But Shannon's out and Katie is in. Katie is a less experienced fighter than Shannon Courtenay, who has shared the ring with the likes of Rachel Ball and Ebony Bridges. Jamie Mitchell, you can definitely make the argument that Shannon Courtenay would have been a tougher test for Nina than Katie might be, on the premise that Shannon is more experienced than Katie Healy. Nina stands a better chance of beating Katie than beating Shannon. And this improves her overall chances of making it to an Ebony Bridges unification match. That is the goal here, after all. That is the end game. That's the biggest fight for any bantamweight champion or contender. Ebony Bridges is the face of this division. Nina might get the fighter if she makes it past Katie. Now, Nina Hughes has kept a decent schedule of activity, a steady schedule of activity, since she debuted as a professional in late 2021 in December. She only fought once that year, 4 times last year, which is impressive. 2 of the 4 fights she had last year were against unbeaten fighters, unbeaten TC Gallagher and unbeaten champion Jamie Mitchell. Will Katie Healy be the next unbeaten fighter that Nina Hughes? Will Katie be the next unbeaten fighter that Nina Hughes beats? She could be. Katie Healy, she's got height on Nina Hughes. She's got a lot of size on her, and she is younger. She's got the edge in youth, though not the edge in power or the edge in experience. Not all unbeaten up-and-comers are created equal. For the most part, Katie Healy has been fighting journey women, 4 of which had losses in the double digits. Now, I don't think she's as hard a puncher as Nina Hughes. Nina actually has 2 recorded knockouts, and if you've seen Nina in action, when she gets within striking distance, she can crack, she can hurt you. She's on the smaller, much smaller, more petite end of the spectrum as far as bantamweights go, whereas Katie's a more long, rangy fighter, tall for this division. 5'7" is tall for a bantamweight. And we are going to give Katie a closer look as the fight date approaches to get a real fix on how she operates. Though the gist of it is, Nina stands a better chance of beating Katie, in my eyes, than she stood of beating Shannon. I had Nina lose in that Shannon-Courtney fight, but this fight, she might win this one. Go on to unify titles with Ebony Bridges. Stay tuned. In other news, per tweet from Michael Benson, Canelo Alvarez and Anthony Joshua are the only 2 boxers featured in Forbes' full top 50 highest paid athletes list for 2023. And that comes as no surprise to me. That comes as no surprise because I've said it many times here on this channel the last 3 or 4 years, maybe longer, that in the American market, Canelo is the face of boxing, and in the UK market, like it or lump it, it's Anthony Joshua. It's not Tyson Fury. It's not anybody else. It's Anthony. I've said that many times here on the channel over the years, many times to many a Fury fanatic. One misguided fool, one misguided content creator almost immediately comes to mind who tried to make the argument that Tyson Fury has surpassed Anthony Joshua's marquee value with no evidence to back it up. No proof. Marquee value isn't about who you like or who you think is the better fighter. It's not about you and your preferences. It's about receipts. It's about results. Had Tyson Fury actually surpassed Anthony Joshua as the face of boxing in the United Kingdom, surely he would have cracked the Forbes list by now, yet as it stands, he hasn't. I remember all those arguments leading up to the Dillian Whyte fight, and all those Fury fanatics who tried to propagate that narrative that Tyson Fury sold that fight by himself, that it had nothing to do with who he was fighting. Dillian Whyte, a fighter who's been a box office fighter for years now in the United Kingdom, a draw unto himself. He helped sell that fight. The fight in and of itself was a very marketable fight in the United Kingdom because there was backstory. You knew that this was Dillian Whyte's long-awaited, long-anticipated crack at the WBC title, a title shot that he was deprived of for the longest time while Deontay Wilder was reigning champion. And obviously, Tyson Fury, he's got fans over there. He does. I'm not even saying that he doesn't. But he's not the face of boxing. He never was. Many a Fury fanatic still struggles with that. Don't confuse the success of the Deontay Wilder fights. Don't confuse a marketable fight or marketable fights with a marketable fighter. Tyson Fury is not a draw unto himself, not a draw by himself, especially him wanting to get paid the way he wants to get paid. Listen to this. Bob Arum has declared that he now does not expect Tyson Fury to fight this summer and believes he will instead wait for the potential undisputed showdown versus Alexander Usyk for huge money in Saudi Arabia in December. Now, why do you think that is? What did I tell you last year after the Derek Chisora fight, the Derek Chisora trilogy, that he resorted to conjuring up the ghost of Derek Chisora because he knew he needed someone with a following of their own to help sell it, to help sell that fight. But now that he's done that, he's shit out of luck. He's shit out of options. It's either you fight Alexander Usyk or you fight AJ, and neither one of those 2 guys are available. Not right now. Tyson Fury isn't the media darling that some of his fans make him out to be. He's not as adored as Anthony Joshua, and he doesn't have the Midas touch to where you can put him out there against almost anybody and it'll sell. No, he doesn't have that kind of drawing power or the corporate sponsorships and profile of an Anthony Joshua. Even if you yourself feel that Tyson Fury is a better fighter than Anthony Joshua, he ain't got more marquee value than that guy. That's why he's not on the Forbes list. And that's why he might not fight in the summer. Don't you think that if Tyson Fury could get out there and make $20-25 million fighting some ham and egg guy, he would? Don't you think if he could do that, he would do that? If he could, he would, but he can't. Fiscally, it's too risky for Frank Warren to put up something like $20-25 million for a Fury fight that might not sell. Tyson Fury wants to get paid a certain way. He doesn't want to go backwards on the money. Not every fight you're in is a big money fight. You still need the right dance partner. Can't sell it by yourself. After the first Deontay Wilder fight, there was this illusion that suddenly Tyson Fury had conquered America and usurped Anthony Joshua as the face of boxing in the UK. And I point to the gate receipts for the Otto Wallin fight, the Tom Schwartz fight. Laughable. Piss poor numbers for those fights. Top Rank was hemorrhaging millions, paying Tyson Fury to fight on the premise that they would get it all back in the second Deontay Wilder fight, just for that second fight to fail to break even. They lost money on that too. They lost money on that rematch. They overshot it. They spent too much. Spent too much in guarantees at a time when piracy was at an all-time high. According to Top Rank's matchmaker, Bruce Trempler, that was the problem, the piracy. So you will notice there was an uptick in buys between the first fight and the second fight. The first fight brought in just north of 300,000 buys, whereas the second fight, it did 800,000. So then you ask yourself, if the second fight brought in more buys than the first fight, what do you mean they lost money? How? How could they have lost money if it generated more buys? Well, it's because the first fight wasn't as expensive to make. There were only something like $7 million in guaranteed purses between the two fighters, between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. Just $7 million in guaranteed purses, whereas in the second fight, it was closer to 50 to 60 million in guaranteed purses. That's what I mean when I say they overshot it. They spent too much. It was foolhardy to spend that much money to get those two guys in the ring. They weren't good for that kind of money. That's why they overshot it. Now, had the guarantees been a little bit more modest, then they wouldn't have lost money. It would have been wildly successful. 800,000 pay-per-view buys. But they spent too much, and what the pay-per-view generated couldn't cover the operational costs of the guaranteed purses, so they ended up losing money. The second fight brought in approximately 800,000 buys. The third brought in even less. Third fight brought in 600,000 buys. 200,000 buys less than the second one did. Let these bozos tell it, and Tyson Fury was the face of boxing at that time. Got lucky that he had Dillian White opposite the ring to help sell that pay-per-view last year. He got lucky again when he conjured up the ghost of Derek Chisora in one of the most unnecessary trilogies I've ever seen. But we all know why Derek was there. We do. Derek was there because he would help sell it. Now that he's exhausted all his options, look, he's not going to have a fight in the summer. Gee, I wonder why. It's he didn't make the Forbes list, but I thought he was the face of boxing in the UK. If he's the face of boxing, what's Anthony doing there? Where's Fury? Nervous some of these blithering idiots, especially the American ones that think they know the ball from the bounce in the UK. Told you, bozos, he ain't the sweetheart you guys are making him out to be. Not the draw you say he is, because if he were, he'd be on the Forbes list, and if he were, he'd be fighting this summer. But he isn't, is he? Dumbass. Gervonta Davis, he didn't make the list either. The guy who supposedly usurped Canelo Alvarez as the face of boxing in this country. People have been saying that since before the Ryan Garcia fight and after. But he's never made the Forbes list. Never. Before the Ryan Garcia fight or after. Never. None of those PBC guys did. None. Where's Deontay Wilder? Where's Errol Spence Jr.? Where's Gervonta? Where are they? Where are they, you fucking idiot, you schmuck? Is it a coincidence that the only two boxers on the Forbes list, the only two, happen to box under the Matchroom banner? Happen to box on DAZN. Earn with Hearn. That's what they say. That's what both Anthony Joshua and Canelo Alvarez appear to be doing. You know, many, many years ago, it was Floyd Mayweather who consistently made the Forbes list for all of his box office earnings. But that was the previous era. That's what you expect from the face of boxing. The face of boxing tends to make the most. Make the most money, generate the most sales. That's why they're the face of boxing. I don't see no Gervonta Davis there. How the hell are you schmucks trying to tell me that he's the face of boxing and he's never made the Forbes list? Not even once.
That's not ready yet to be made? Maybe?
Not a question of not ready. I'm not ready. We're not gamblers. You know, we'll take risk, but we're not gamblers. I mean, to put up tremendous guarantees for that fight, to make a couple of dollars if you're lucky, probably to lose considerable money, why do it? You have to pay attention to what Bob Arum is saying here. You really have to put your thinking cap on, because Shakur Stevenson, a fighter like Shakur Stevenson, who already makes very good money, who's already a seven-figure fighter, he'd obviously want more than what he normally gets to box somebody like Gervonta Davis, but therein lies the dilemma. Gervonta can't carry it. Gervonta can't carry the promotion off his name alone. He cannot finance the kind of guarantee that a Shakur Stevenson would want, because he is not the face of boxing. Don't confuse the box office success
of Davis versus Garcia, with Gervonta Davis being the face of boxing, Ryan had a lot to do with why that pay-per-view was successful. Gervonta's fans are still in denial about it.
The problem here is, Shakur already makes very good money fighting who he's been fighting. He already makes good money. To box Gervonta Davis, he would want considerably more. Rightfully so, because it's a more high-profile fight than his run-of-the-mill fight.
And obviously, Gervonta's gonna want whatever he wants. You know, he's gonna want a lot of money too. Making the event risky, financially risky. It's not as big a fight here and now as the Ryan Garcia fight was, because Ryan, he's got a big following.
Yeah.
May not be as good a boxer as Shakur Stevenson.
No way.
But he's popular. So what Gervonta Davis had in Ryan Garcia was the most reward for the least risks. It couldn't be more ideal for Gervonta Davis, whereas with Shakur,
It's the other way around. You have less rewards and more risks.
he's not the face of boxing. He can't carry a promotion like that off his name alone. Finance a good enough guarantee for Shakur to make it happen. Not that Gervonta wants to make it happen, or his team. I mean, first, you'd need willingness from the fighter to do the fight, and then you'd have to make the numbers work.
That's what Bob is talking about. If you tried to do that right now, it would be risky.
It's not going to do 1.2, 1.4 million at the box office.
Now, maybe it could do 300,000, maybe 400,000, maybe even 5, maybe 500,000, but not over 1 million.
Bob knows that. If Gervonta Davis really were the draw that he's made out to be, you wouldn't have to worry about the fiscal risks in doing the show. You wouldn't have to worry about the finances, because Gervonta, in theory,
Right.
in that scenario,
Right.
he'd have enough marquee value to make it happen.
He's not Canelo Alvarez.
Now, I don't actually think that Gervonta or his team are interested in making a Shakur Stevenson fight anyway, because of the risks associated with the fight. He could definitely lose that one.
Why take him on when you can keep fighting ham and egg guys on your side of things?
You think you're gonna get a Shakur Stevenson in the ring for what you pay Rolly Romero, for what you pay an Isaac Cruz?
You're not.
Guy's a 2-division champion. What the hell are those guys? You expect him to accept what they accept?
That ain't gonna work.
A big part of being the face of boxing in a sport, it's not just making the Forbes list, it's being able to guarantee your opponents career high purses, career high paydays.
Everybody knows that Caleb Plant wasn't no $10 million fighter, but Canelo was able to get him that kind of money because Canelo
He's the man.
is the face of boxing.
He's the cash cow.
That's how it works.
That's how it's always worked. One successful pay-per-view that Ryan Garcia helped you sell does not make you the face of boxing.
You kidding?
You're not gonna do numbers like that with just anybody.
You may see a dramatic change in what Gervonta Davis's next fight generates based on who he fights.
Go ahead, let him fight Isaac Cruz again, or Rolly Romero, and I guarantee you, he won't do with them what he just did with Ryan.
Now, he could do more with Shakur,
But he can't afford him.
as strange as that might sound.
Off his name alone, he can only afford opponents he can pay peanuts on the dollar, like Rolly and Isaac.